So just another day in internet land. We got a new, you know what it is. You know what it is. Okay. So this has been out for a couple days. Yesterday, I thought we got new information, like, evidence, but it was just Sensitive Society making a video which kind of shows his bias because I mean, with a title like this, what does it even imply? It implies this guy in a negative light and stuff, but there's still no real evidence other than word of mouth and a lot of like inconsistencies and weird stuff and more shady stuff on Shelby. I'm not. I'm just very confused, very confuzzled, and I'm even more confuzzled. 8 minutes in, right? Fucking Sensitive Society is like, well, if this is true, so it's like, is she already making a judgment? Like, you don't know if it's actually true. I mean, unless you think that biting somebody consensually is freak-like behavior, but I don't know. Have you been in a relationship, Sensitive Society, or are you just like vanilla as all hell? I don't know, man. Well, what can I say? This was just a very disappointing video, but whatever. I don't wanna ruffle anybody's jimmies about the celeb. Okay. Anyway, let's get back into like the actual thing, which this is the re-uploaded VOD of the Shelby Shubble on Thingy-Majig on February 21st, where she originally made like a 30-minute segment, and I gotta be honest, I watched it. Horrible all around. About 2 minutes is what I got of testimony from this woman, and it's just full of weird inconsistencies and questions, more questions than not. And then her following actions later on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Thank you, Elon. It just kind of led more questions than answers, and it didn't really make her look any better. But we'll get to that. Let's do a timeline of events, okay? So this Minecraft YouTuber, we're already in the red zone. Minecraft, horrible community, makes this video, VOD, 30-minute of just talking about a relationship being bad or something. And in this, 2 minutes of it is dedicated to the quote-unquote abuse segment or whatever, and where she describes how she was in a relationship with a guy, and this is the stupidest thing ever. He decided that he wanted to bite her as part of the relationship, a little nibble or whatever. They had a safety word for it because he wanted to make sure she was okay with it, and she wanted to, occasionally not be bitten as hard, something of that sort. It's worth noting that they as a couple went ahead and talked about whether or not the biting should happen. She took him asking her for consent of whether or not this was okay with her as a red flag. So this woman is gaslighting herself, or she's now thinking, or she was thinking, that it was a red flag that her boyfriend asked for consent. This is stupid. And this sets a precedent, and this just looks like, oh, I can revoke consent anytime I want. That's what the big picture is in this, because this person comes out with a testimony against this person with no fucking evidence after describing how she was, hurt or anything of that sort. She describes bruising and whatnot. Never took a photo of it because, lol, why do I need evidence if I'm going to make allegations later? She says that her friends were all aware of this and saw this and how distraught she was or something of that sort. Didn't say anything, so that already paints the friends as not very good. They're either opportunistic rats, clout chasers, or fucking spineless weasels. Otherwise, this just looks like like they're just teaming up against this guy at this point. And the guy's name is Wilbur Soot, or Wilbur Soot. Never heard of him. Just another Minecraft YouTuber. Shit community. Don't pay attention to it. But apparently he's very popular. And she didn't name him by name initially, but I guess he saw this and decided to have a conscience. Because, you gotta keep in mind, he made this apology, right, which we've gone over already. So he made the apology, or whatever, taking accountability. And then they just weaponize it against him. Now, keep in mind, he didn't need to do this because, a couple reasons. He got consent for the action. Essentially, Shelby is just revoking consent, lol, because why not? And, he didn't get named, so he could have just stayed quiet. Couldn't have said anything. Didn't have to make this. And instead, people are just weaponizing the crap out of this. To his credit, though, he's not hiding any comments, right? Now, I'm a firm believer, if you get trolls and you're a small content creator or you don't get many interactions, yeah, you can hide them. Why not? Especially if they're lying or they're doing anything. When you're a big content creator and you can just let the good outweigh the bad and, something of that sort. Like, you got millions or thousands of notifications and thousands of people weighing in at this point. But you at least have a leg to stand on because you have some people willing to fight on your behalf for the truth, not lies. It's not a smear campaign at that point, right? So I'm a firm believer that you should allow comments at that point. That being the case, it's a little weird that Shelby over here, the graceful victim, puts out her statement in reply, and it's just kind of the same bullshit, sort of, just dumb in general, And she seems to have the overall support, because if you play a victim on the internet now, for some fucking reason, you just get rewarded. That's just the reality. No proof, by the way. No proof. Only testimony, which is the most unreliable form of proof. It is. Okay, it is. It is in the courtroom. It is just in general. Given that we're in the court of public opinion, though, the rules kind of shift a little bit more. Just a little bit more into the my favorite, my word of my celeb. And then you got all these other degenerates going ahead, like Just the Minx, for instance. Oh, you're truly a blessing to this world. It's like, how? You think revoking consent of an action after your relationship goes sour because the guy doesn't want to marry you anymore? Which, by the way, I want to add this too. Shelby, in this stupid video, says that she doesn't say she feels bad, but she obviously is a little peeved off that the guy decided to not want to marry her anymore and have kids with her anymore. So there's already incentive for this bitch to lie. And yes, I'm going to call her a bitch because she's not a fucking victim. A victim doesn't have these weird inconsistencies, and a victim doesn't go ahead and fucking hide criticism, especially when they're getting the majority of ass pats. Now again, assuming some of these are troll comments, which, there are, obviously, some, like this one. But some of these are critical, especially this one in here in particular, where they're asking the burning question, why did you not break up with him before, though? Why did you not break up the moment he started biting? I support you, but I just want to know. It's not making any sense to me. So a pretty just rational question gets hidden by this bitch, right? Why? You have the majority of support. You can't answer one simple question? I hate when e-celebs pretend like they're going to be super transparent and have all the answers, and then they end up not having all the answers and just hiding you, because fuck you, right? And again, just to reiterate, before we have a brain-dead moron saying, because that's all I hear from most chatters now that are against me, because, Jesus fucking Christ, you guys gotta step up your game. But, again, if you have thousands of people taking your side, thousands of people, without any evidence, mind you, no evidence whatsoever, no evidence, just word versus word, and that your only evidence or thing that's being weaponized at this point, other than your word, other than you being the damsel in distress, is his own apology to you. How crazy is that? What the fuck? This just sets up hello? This is why men shouldn't apologize to women who try to Me Too them or try to throw allegations at them, especially when they get consent for a fucking action. Because here's the main takeaway. This sets a precedent that you're allowed to revoke consent whenever you want if a relationship goes sour. And this is a very common thing that's starting to happen now. You revoke consent. It was always the meme of I think the anti-SJW peeps were saying this shit. they were like going ahead and pointing out how like a woman and a man could have sex at a party, and then they could revoke consent the next day or something, right? And then like it gets muddied, and then people start using buzzwords, and then they start throwing new allegations, and then it gets really messy because this is the age of victimhood. 2024, just essentially like the 2020s and above and stuff. Really, very recently, maybe. You know, when we hit a certain milestone in the world where people's brains started being rewired, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, if I play the victim on the internet, I'll get rewarded. Because everybody likes siding with a victim, right? Especially, once again, a damsel in distress. Because this is clearly what she is. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't hurt a fly. But again, it's a really stupid concept. But guess what? People are really fucking stupid. You know, for the longest time, people thought Mama Max, ex-predator hunter extraordinaire, was actually fucking credible. Well, I was telling you guys that he wasn't. You idiots, the majority of you idiots, were saying that he was, and lying straight to my face, and probably lying to yourself. That's why the majority of fucking people are fucking stupid. They're willing to believe literally anything as long as it aligns with what they want it to be. Majority, that's it. And that's what this looks like it is. Regardless, again, a lot of holes in this story. One, if you sorry, that's a little vomit that's coming out. The fact that I even have to point this out, right? If you claim that it was as bad as you were, you didn't take any evidence, or you didn't take any pictures of the supposedly horrible bites, the fuck? Number two, if you claim that you have multiple testimonies from your friends who witnessed this firsthand, why the fuck didn't they speak up or say anything at the time? Seems kind of spineless and seems kind of opportunistic that now that they're coming out of the woodwork, after he's, his defenses are down because he's essentially apologizing and bowing down to you, which he shouldn't. Another thing, setting a precedent. You're setting a precedent, Shelby, that you're allowed to revoke consent whenever the fuck you want. And more people are going to follow suit with your bullshit. It's why we have mediocre idiots on Twitter, or X as you like to call it, trying to make fucking false Google documents, false allegations, just rebardation all around. So you are essentially saying to the president that you could be a fucking idiot on the internet. You can revoke consent and try to trash a man's fucking life. Or in this instance, their brand. I hope he sues you, to be honest. If we're being real, because, again, in what scenario is he essentially, he could be an asshole, but in what scenario is he abusive if he's asked for consent of an action and you didn't decide to ever sit him down and said, I'm not comfortable with this anymore, for the sake of our relationship, can you stop? Right? That never happened. And then, again, the most pressing question, why didn't you break up with him? You clearly said there were multiple red flags, correct? Right? You even took him asking for consent initially as a red flag. So, again, this just looks and makes you look like an opportunistic whore, a clout-chasing whore at that. You're not a victim, at least not in my eyes, right? I know there are a bunch of gullible idiots that are willing to believe you, including fucking Dream, who's one of the biggest snakes out there. There are allegations against Dream, and there with more proof, but he wants to pull the Milady card and wants to come to Shelby's defense by trying to make himself look good and going ahead and trashing this Wilbur guy. I have no idea who Wilbur Scott is. Wilbur Soot. See, I can't even pronounce his name right because I don't give a shit that much. But I give a shit more about the president that this is setting and more of the action, which is the president that this is setting, and the action is that you're allowed to revoke consent whenever you want, and then have millions of fucking idiots like Just the Minx and Dream back you up for internet points to look like the good person. This would have been laughed out of court, and that's probably why you didn't take it to court, because you'd rather take it to the court of public opinion, where you can have a million fucking idiots supporting you with no evidence at all whatsoever, and just smear the fuck out of a guy that's a fucking asshole. Seen it happen many times, it's going to continue to happen, and it's one of the reasons I hate internet land oh so much, and I will continue to hate internet land oh so much. Anyway, that's your daily reminder of realness. I'm out. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.